Welcome back to Comics with Drew. Goodness gracious, what a night tonight has been. yeah, power outages suck. So I'm trying something a little bit different. I have actually, I'm doing the free trial, the 7-day trial of StreamYard, and the idea here is that you can get HD video this way, and so now I can actually see if my camera here is doing things the way I want it to be. So tonight you're getting to see me draw in high definition 1080p. Imagine that. How cool would that look? So maybe you can actually see my art better. I hope you can. It better be better because I want to get my money's worth. So, but oh boy, I'm going to do a little bit of rearranging here. It's a little bit impromptu today because of the fact that there was this weird freak storm that had lightning striking everywhere and caused the power to go out for an hour and a half in my place. So that was unpleasant. And so I'm just trying to get things organized a little bit better here. Get the command center working properly, which will include plugging the camera back in that just unplugged. Give me a break, dude. Wow. Let's try this one more time. Let's see if we can stay plugged in this time. Can we stay plugged in? Settings. Camera. HD camera. Dragon, good to see you. Let me see if I can get my camera fixed. Hold on just a second here. There we go. Why do you hate the number 9? Do I hate the number 9? I don't know if I hate the number 9. Why would I? Is this a joke? So I don't know. No, I don't hate the number 9. I'm not sure why you think I would hate the number 9. Okay. Where am I? There they are. Okay. All right. Now I can see a little bit better. Adjusting drafting table. All right. So I was going through my Instagram, and by the way, I have a new Instagram. Well, it's not really new. I've just not been using it. It's called Dark Matter Comics, and I'm going to be publishing basically Dark Variance. So just to kind of give you a quick rundown. All right, so Dark Variance is a book that I'm working on right now, okay? So Dark Variance. All right, so this is the book, right? And this is the company, or my publishing company that I'm going to publish it under, is Dark Matter Comics, like so. Okay, Dark Matter Comics. So if you want to follow my Instagram, where I post art on a regular basis, you can go to the Dark Matter Comics Instagram, and let me make sure I got this thing right here. yeah, that's it. So it's just all one word, and it is Dark Matter Comics. So that's my Instagram, or that I'm going to be publishing or putting drawings up as I work on them. So when I'm not doing live streams, sometimes I will turn around and I'll walk into my drafting table and I will see art that is on the table like so. And I'll say, oh, I'm going to fix this one thing. Boom, boom, boom. And before I know it, there's quite a bit of change put into it. And then I wind up saying, oh, wow, this is a lot different than what people last saw. So, but speaking of which, I saw something on Vindibabe's arm here. So she's got a little bit of a weird bicep. So I want to fix that real quick here before I start working on anything else. And also, her glove goes like this. So I'm going to fix that. So here's her glove here, right? And then here's her glove here. Let me know if it's clearer than, if the art is clearer than it's been previously. Oh, I was making fun of you because one of your videos you said you hate 9-panel pages. No, I see. No. I love. I don't really have anything. I don't have a problem with the number 9. It's just in 9-panel pages. The problem is that when you have a book, I'm gonna give you an example of what I'm talking about here. Oh, okay. So sorry about the noise. All right. I'll give you 2 examples of 9-panel pages. All right, so this is Watchmen, right? Watchmen is famous for 9-panel pages. For example, here, okay? Now, as you can see, we've got a reflection in a puddle. We've got a guy stepping into a puddle. We've got a guy in the puddle right here. And then we've got a guy walking past a headline on a newspaper. And then we've got a shot of a building that he's walking up into, and he's at the door. And then we look up at the window, and this is inferring that he's actually made it to the window. And there's another window. And so anyway, but you'll notice here how big these illustrations are, right? You can see clearly what's going on. So this is Watchmen. It's one of the greatest, maybe even possibly the greatest graphic novel or comic book or graphic novel altogether written, ever created, possibly. Okay, so that's a 9-panel page. This is by Alan Moore, right here, Alan Moore. And that's why I say, unless you're Alan Moore, I don't think that you should be doing 9-panel pages. So here's Tom King doing 9-panel pages. And here's an example. And what this is boring. Notice it's the same freaking picture all through the page to the end, basically. And this is just lazy. What this isn't really telling you a story. You've got Big Bertha and Big Barda. You got Big Barda, and she's here, and then she's talking, and then she's walking away. And you know, there's nothing going on here. And this book is full of examples of this. And so even when you have pages where like you do have, like here's another example, it's the same freaking image essentially, right? There's obviously something going on, but you can barely see what's going on here. It's pretty much visually incoherent. There's no reason for this to be a 9-panel page, okay? This is just asinine. So Mr. Miracle, I hate this book, by the way. This is one of the most hated books that I own. I cannot stand this book. But this is peak Tom King doing a midlife crisis with characters he has no business writing. So as you can see, again, when I come back here, 9-panel pages here, we actually have action going on. We've got a story that's being told. So there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. And most of the time, it's being done the wrong way because people these days don't have the understanding of what's going on. So, but anyway, um, so I'm going to do a little bit of a touch up on Vindibabe's arm here. I did not have a chance to find any exotic sodas to try for this stream, so sadly there is no soda that I'm going to taste test. So now the other thing to keep in mind when I was drawing this with this page here, I was just trying to get these characters down. I was trying to come up with a concept for a cover, and let me zoom out here. Oops. Okay, there we go. All right, there you go. It's funny. You don't realize how big these pages are until you're trying to get them in frame. So anyway, yeah. So I was working on this, and this is pretty much just an idea to get the characters down on one page for an actual cover. So this would be a potential cover, or even just a poster, because I'm not entirely certain that these are going to be the definitive versions of these characters in this book. But anyway, so okay, so this is correct. This is correct. Now that's one of the other things, is that this is the same character here. So I want to make sure that I've got her right. So it looks like her legs are right, and now her arm is right. Okay, and chest is right. And I have not drawn a belt here, so I need to draw a belt. And the way that this is going to go is right about here. So let me bring that in. Yeah, I can tell HD is much better here. Goodness gracious. Wow. I keep thinking about my backup story I came up with recently. By the way, I tried to correct the typo yesterday. I don't know if you've seen it. It's about teens and college kids playing a fighting game. Really? What kind of fighting game are they playing? All right. I think that we're good here. So I'm actually almost ready to go to inks on this. So I'm not going to ink this straight. I'm going to put this on a light board and put a sheet over it, and I'm going to ink that. So, by the way, I'm going to test something out here. I want to see if you can hear me better with my headphones in, or if you can hear me better on the camera here. So let me know. Okay, so right now I'm talking on my AirPods, right? Okay, so I'm going to switch off the audio, and just let me know in the chat if you hear me better in a second here. So I'm gonna switch the audio here real quick. All right, I switched the audio. Test, 1, 2. Is this clearer, or is the other way clearer? And I'll wait for your reply.
You think the first one is better? Okay. All right, let me switch it back then.
All right, we're back to EarPods. Okay, one where they make their own character. They pretty much program their fighter and they use any type of controller, but they have to have this wrist controller with numbers to activate the abilities. Sounds cool, dude. I like it. So I want to take this opportunity to kind of explain their powers here. Okay, so in this picture, they're sitting on basically the top of a tower here, and to give you a better idea of the tower that they're sitting on, let me get a picture of it real quick. All right, let's see here. All right, this is the building that they're on top of. So I'm gonna add the photos. Go my photos. All right, so they are all the way up here. That's what this is representing here. So this tower, this pyramid that they're on, that's actually the top here. So this happens in the second issue of this graphic novel. And when I do the crowdfund for this, it's going to be the first two issues. So it's going to be 2 floppies, and you're going to be able to buy them together as a package, and so it'll be that part of it. And so, but that's really where all the superheroing the superhero stuff starts. So the first 24 pages of the story is really the invention of, or discovery, excuse me, of dark matter. So like I've shown you before, this is the first page of the first issue. And this is actually probably going to be the cover of issue 3. So, and then why can't I just, there we go. A little bit better. I wish I could zoom this out. There we go. Better, somewhat better. Anyway, so this will be like the cover for issue 3, right? And then this is a page in issue 1. So this is like, I think like the 5th or 6th page in issue 1. And so anyway, but so the problem here is that none of these heroes, like this page here, this is in issue 2. This doesn't show up until issue 2. So when I do a crowdfund for this to get this funded, I'm going to need to, have more of the story. So if you're not familiar, George Lucas started off Star Wars with episode 4 because that was where all the good action occurred. So he did episode 4, 5, and 6. And even though he had treatments for episodes 1 through 3, and even a sequel trilogy, 7, 8, 9, which we never saw because Disney bought Star Wars and did their own thing. He had to draw people into the action. So consequently, I'm kind of in the same boat because this first 24 pages is the invention of dark matter, or excuse me, God, the discovery of dark matter. So anyway, So if you were on JBot's art stream last night, JBot is a good artist. He's a great artist. He's not good. He's a great artist. And apparently, I just realized today that he does. He owns a retro video game store. That is awesome. I've never talked to him about that. I'm gonna have to do that. Anyway, if you were on that stream, he had me on, and I was working on drawing this alligator. So this is Vindibabe. Okay, and again, let me just put out her name. So this is, so now I sharpen this and then I start writing with it like an imbecile. Let's like, try the black. All right. So this is Vindibabe. That's who we're drawing today. And I was talking about earlier her powers. Okay, so these two characters, Vindibabe here and Vindibabe, it's like they've got the same emblem, the V. Their abilities basically are they have the ability to create energy constructs via dark matter. Okay, so their powers actually are kind of derived from an in-universe manga that they are fans of as regular human beings, regular people, not superhero people. And so when they get dark variance, or basically exposed to dark matter, it combines them with some of the with a character that's in that manga. So consequently, they kind of take on the name of the character, which is the Vindicator. And so he calls himself Vindibud and she calls herself Vindibabe because they think it's hilarious. So that's where they get their names. But they have similar powers. Her powers, because when the event happens, they're actually arguing with each other, like most nerds do, most geeks do, about what's better, the manga or the anime, right? So she's got the tankobon in her hand, and she's arguing that the manga tankobon is superior, the story is superior, and he's arguing with he's got his tablet out, and he's like waving the anime, so he's got like queued up to watch the anime version of the story. So he thinks the anime is superior, she thinks the manga is superior, and because of this, his powers are digitally based. So anything that he's seen, as far as digitally speaking, digital media is concerned, like movies or television, audiovisual stuff, that's where he's able to do constructs out of. So he can, if he can think of something that he's seen, he can imagine it basically into reality. She, on the other hand, is very well read. She likes to read. And so her powers are derived from things that she's read in books, so, or literature, right? So they have kind of similar powers, and because he's like a movie buff, he's got all kinds of different ideas and things that have stood out to him, and she's got things that she's read that stand out to her. She's got a better imagination because she has to think of these things in her own mind. So she has developed entire visual representations of things in her mind. So she has, I think, a better power set than he does because he's limited to what other people have shown him via digital media. So anyway, so that's where their powers are. So here he has made like a little platform of zeros and ones that he's sitting on. And when she does her energy stuff, basically it's letters. So I'm gonna bring this in here a little bit. Can I? So you see that here. I'm still working on how I'm going to render this, but basically her energy constructs materialize in the form of like letters. They come together to form different things. So yeah, there we go. So I've got X's and V's and I's and stuff like that. And so with Vindibud, it's the zeros and the ones. So that's how their power sets work, and their physique. They are normal, regular people with normal, healthy builds. but the dark matter enhances them significantly, and then they become super peak specimens of the human form. So, and the same thing happens with these two characters here, Common Sense Girl and General Safety. So, but anyway, so like I said, it's a draw stream, and I'm going to try to put a building back behind Vindibabe. To that end, if you weren't watching the stream last night, I was on Twitter, right? And I want to explain this for anybody that happens to come across this. I said, oh, this building, because this is the building right here. Right here is the building that I'm trying to draw. And this is the edge of the page here, right? So we've got the edge of the page, boom. And this is the edge of the page right here. And so I wanted to draw this building properly. And then I've got, like, you know, right here, and let me zoom this in here. Okay, so this is the building, right? And so these are the floors to the building, right? Okay, and she comes basically bursting out of a window. So what that means is that this would be like the window right here, and then right here, and then this would be like the interior, right? Okay, and so then we'd have, like, you know, office lighting and all that crap, and maybe some furniture. So she comes bursting out of this building here, and this is just a test to see how it looks. But this is 3-point perspective. So there are people that have been coming after me on Twitter about this. So I talked about this on JBot's stream, but I want to talk about it on my stream. So if someone comes through and watches this, so this is for 3-point perspective. For those who are unaware or uninitiated, you have to have 3 vanishing points, right? And you have to have a horizon. So this is your horizon, right? And so you have 1 and 2 and 3, right? And so people you're supposed to do this, you know, to get your 3-point perspective, and then back out this way, like so, right? And then with the bottom one, you're supposed to go up like this, right? Okay. And then you can start drawing buildings like this. You can just start popping them out, like right here, maybe one like this. And then you got like this one right here, you know, and then you can have one right here, etc. And that's typically what people consider 3-point perspective, right? And then you can draw your windows. This is very, very sloppy, but that's 3-point perspective. That's what typically people are doing. What I'm doing here is I'm changing it around. So you got your vanishing point here, your vanishing point here, right here. This is your horizon, and then this is actually this is 2. So 1, 2, and then 3. Okay, and so I just rotated it a little bit, and then for my own personal edification, I put the edge of the paper, and then I found a line for the building that I want. So you're looking straight up on the building, right? That's generally the idea. Okay, now I'm done with that rant. Back to business. Okay, so let's see. I thought they were icicles. It does look like it's made of ice from a distance, but once you take a second, it's visually creative. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, by the way, I love how you still try to make them unique, even though they have similar powers. Thank you very much. I've thought long and hard about this. I have really thought about this because these characters. Oh, I don't know if you saw this last night. Dang it, where did I put this stuff? Oh, there it is. Okay, so I finally found my original art for my webcomic that this is based on. As you can see, there's a lot of comics. So I drew this for a long time. So let me see. I'm going to show you some befores and afters here of these different characters. Let's go with, here's a good one. Okay, let me see if I can find a Vindibabe here. I have a Common Sense Girl. Do I have a good example of Vindibabe? I don't know if I do. I might have that out in a different box in the garage. Ooh, here we go. Come on, stay up there. Stay up there. This is why I need to have music. So when I'm looking through things, I can have something that's entertaining going on. Ah, boom. Actually, I've got two really good examples. Here you go. All right. Okay, so the original webcomic is called The Adventures of Vindibabe Superhero in Training. Let's see, I thought they were icicles, okay, and I'm an art novice. I even knew it was 3 point. Yeah, okay, all right, so this is the comic strip. This is a web comic originally. I drew this comic for years. I drew it for like near on 20 years. And so it was a daily comic strip, right? So it was a parody of superheroes. This is Vindibabe right here, and this is General Safety, right? The same guy. That's Vindibabe up here. And that's General Safety. Vindibabe and General Safety. So this is what they appeared like in the comic strip. So he goes, why is God so perfect and doesn't have to deal with people he doesn't like? And General Safety goes, he goes, I mean, he just sends them all straight to hell. And General Safety's like, okay. He says, well, why can't I do that? And then General Safety says, have you had your son crucified for total strangers? He goes, I guess that would make me grumpy too. Anyway, so not necessarily the funniest comic strip, but it was a web comic. So when you're on a deadline, any kind of joke sounds like a good idea. But anyway, so that's Vindibabe and that's General Safety. And then this is Vindibabe here. this is how Vindibabe looked in the comic strip. And as you can see, she's here, and she's obviously here. Quite a big difference between the two. So I'll bring that in. Old Vindibabe, new Vindibabe. Jeez. Okay, and then this here is Common Sense Girl. So I'm gonna bring that up here. This is Common Sense Girl, and basically she would run around writing common sense violation citations for Vindibabe, being an idiot. So I had to kind of reinvent her icon because I had the hardest time for years trying to figure out what she should look like. But anyway, this is Common Sense Girl now. So there we go, Common Sense Girl now, and old Common Sense Girl. So this was a webcomic, and I've been telling people I was going to pull these out. I could never find them. I finally found them last night while I was on the stream with J-Bot. I was like, oh my God, they're buried literally under 15 different boxes. It was terrible. So, okay. This is a draw stream, I swear. So why don't we start drawing? Because that's what you're all here for. You're not here to listen to me randomly talk about a comic strip I stopped drawing 5 years ago. Anyway, if you want to read any of those comics, they're all on the internet. They're all on Vindibabe.com, which is, and I'll write that down as well. The website is www.vindibabe.com. So there you go. Vindibabe.com. That's the website. So you can read the webcomic there for free. I host the site. It's my own website. And I haven't updated it since 2017. Or drawn a new Vindibabe comic strip. So it's all about Dark Variance. And the idea here was for me to create a serious comic book, and I've never done that before in my life. And so I decided I was going to take those characters and reboot them into a serious comic book. And I have worked on this story for at least a solid 3.5 years, and it's gone through different iterations, but it's contained some similar themes. And I finally, about 2 months ago, came up with the ending for it. And so now that I know the ending of the story, I can start drawing it. So that's always been the toughest part, finding the end of the story, finding the motivation for the characters, and then putting it all together. So, all right, so we're gonna focus some more here on drawing an alligator. And I was gonna work on the building, but I got an alligator in front of it. So I guess we're just gonna work on the alligator for right now. And maybe next week, or maybe even if I decide to do another stream before that, I'll work on the building. So let me get my alligator references up here. Let's see here. Did you draw these? Yes, Talise, thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. Hi there. Welcome. Yes, I did draw them, and I'm drawing them now. Yes, he did. So yeah, that's right. It's not hard to understand. So, okay, so let's see here. This is, by the way, why I said you guys should get a Pinterest. If you're into drawing, you can create pins, and you can basically have the internet search for you for alligators if you want. Let's see here, writing that up. All right, so this is my reference. That's my commands. Okay, this is my reference. So got this guy here, and I'm working from this reference to see where the scales go up and down. As you can see, there's a pattern there, and he's kind of wide-bodied there, right? And he's got these kind of pudgy legs. Don't let this fool you in real life. These suckers are super fast. You do not want to get on the business end of an alligator. Trust me, even if they look big, fat, and slow. They are not slow. So, and they only need to get you, like a lot of times people, the reason why alligators attack people or small animals is because they get too close to the water and they're within striking distance. So these things can lunge out of the water in the blink of an eye, and so they're conserving all their energy. So they wait till someone is stupid and walks right up to them, right, and doesn't suspect them, and that's when they like shake this tail here, and then they just lunge out and then snatch something and then drag it back in and start rolling it under the floor of the pond to try to drown it. That's how they attack. So um, these alligators, though, in this comic book, these are airborne alligators. It's not like Sharknado. It would be a Gatornado. Is that what it would be? Gatornado. That would be interesting. So, all right. So, I think that his arm should be more down here. So I think this should be more up here. And it should be more over here. And okay, so we've got basically 4 lines. So this is going to be kind of like, yeah. Yeah, okay, so that's going to be where the center line goes down. Okay. So you know what I'm going to do? Smart. All right, it's all away. Dude, I was thinking the exact same thing, Gatornado. Yeah, yeah, it's like a Gatornado. All right, I think. All right. Yeah, there we go. So it's going to be at the edge, and then we're going to have kind of the center of the tail, like so. And okay, so this is going to be fun. And by fun, I mean challenging. All right, so. So we want, oh, okay, so we need to have a bit of a neck. He needs to have a bit of a neck here. Okay, and oh, by the way, I don't like the little pupils. I think he looks better without the pupils. I think he looks a lot more threatening. What do you think? Yeah, that's better. That is much better. And these scales, stop that. There you go. How are these going to work? All right. Now you can't just do cross hatches on this. You have to bump this up to make sure that these are kind of rough, because even though they're uniform, they are not smooth. And the key when you're trying to draw something like this is that you don't necessarily, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get the idea across. And 99% of the people out there that are going to look at this aren't going to look at that and go, that's not what a gator looks like, because they don't know what alligators actually look like. So, and again, these aren't real alligators. These are dark variance alligators. And so, or they're in a dark variance Orlando. So they're going to have slightly different kinds of characteristics. And so it allows a bit of fantasy to be utilized. By the way, you see here, I've got like a little thumb here. I was drawing 4 fingers on this gator hand, but as it turns out, alligators have 4 fingers on the front, not 5. So I had to erase that, which I think it kind of, I think I went in a good direction with that. There's actually, I believe, 5 fingers on the rear legs. So let's see here. Dude, I was thinking the exact same thing, Gator Nado. All right. And okay, so that's what's working on the fingers here. All right, so that is actually kind of going away from us. So yeah, that's the way you want that to look. All right, I gotta get a better reference of a gator head here because one I have is a little too far off. All right. All right, now the other thing here is underneath. It's also basically a checkerboard. And actually, as it goes up, it kind of starts getting into smaller scales. But down here, it's pretty uniform. And they do have elbows, I found out. It's amazing what you find out when you start looking at these things. You also have to make sure that you're looking at actual alligators and not crocodiles or caimans. I think they're called caimans. By the way, let me know if this is actually clearer than my streams typically have been doing this stuff. I stand corrected. It looks like they all have. Well, no, is that? Do they really have? I need to make sure I figure this out. What the anatomy of an alligator is. Okay, that is an alligator. And son of a biscuit. Okay, so this alligator has 5 paws. Why is Gmail popping up? There you go. So this one has 4 here. This is frustrating. Okay. All right. It's 5 fingers. I mean, the camera, the drawing of the camera looks clear. No, this is a high definition video this time. Previously, it's been just 720. So I'm just wondering if the art's clear, if the image is clearer for you. Because it is a drawing stream, so you want to have as much detail as possible. Okay, so he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. No, this is what we're gonna do. And if someone comes at me and says, that's not what alligators look like, I'm gonna say, it's not a real alligator. That's what I'm gonna do. There you go. I switched it to the other side. Okay, now the back. All right, so we're gonna have the ridge. So basically, what you really need to just understand is that you've got this ridge that kind of defines the top of the animal. So then this is what flows back into the corner up here. So okay, and then we have 2 that kind of like lead up behind the eyes here. So they start like right up here. And then they kind of narrow like that. And then they taper off, and then and this is so important to get right. Need to get the blocking curves out of the drawing as well. All right, so this kind of, okay, this goes up like this. This kind of has its own form as well. Excuse me, let me get a cable out of the way. Come on now. Come on now. You can do it, Mr. Cable. All right. This kind of diverges. So these are basically, if you look along the back of an alligator here, right here, you see you've got these lines like this. So that's what you need to, you'll have a band, right? And then you'll have these ridges, and the bands will separate the ridges. And so they kind of work to give the animal a little bit of streamlining in the water. And then once you get that ridge, this is kind of like a stegosaurus actually. So then you've got all the different scales underneath it on the side. So anyway, so that's what we're trying to isolate here. So these are the two, I don't know what the proper anatomical term for this is. So we're just going to call it the ridge line. All right, so then that's going to come back through there. And those are going to be like that, like that. So okay, and then we got this border ridge on the back of the animal, and that's basically going to wind up going out here for our purposes. Okay, and then we got the other leg, and the other leg's going to kind of be tucked behind it, I think. That's not what real yeah, actually, you know, I review comic books on my regular videos, or just comic book reviews. What I'm gonna do is, like, when I get this made, I'm gonna put a mustache on, and then I'm gonna pretend I'm someone else and get a really snobby voice. And I'm going to nitpick my own comic book. And I'm gonna say things like, "That's not a real alligator." So it'll be a lot of fun. All right, so this leads me to finding this line here definitively. There we go. I think that's your tummy. And now that I've got this ridge line defined, I can start basically doing little scaling work here. Yay! All right. So if I go in on detail on these, this looks kind of like a cobblestone road. So we're just gonna just be drawing these little circles here. A little bit of oblong circles. Yeah, oblongs. OBLONG, oblong circles. And ultimately, there are going to be patterns. Some of these are going to be different colors, and it's going to look kind of like a camouflage. I don't want to make them too perfect here. To be perfectly honest with you, when I'm inking this, I'm going to have to make sure that this line is rough. Because the reality is that there aren't really many smooth parts on an alligator. Sharpening time. So anyway, big news this week. Eric July launched the Ripaverse with ISOM #1. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I don't watch Eric's streams. The reason I don't watch Eric July streams is because I don't really necessarily agree with his mindset that you should not support anything that Disney or the big two put out because they hate you, right? And my philosophy is that you're not gonna change this, okay? Eric can launch all the $1 million crowdfund comic books he wants, right? But that's nothing. I mean, again, while again, this is not. I love the fact that he launched this book, and I love the fact that it's making millions of dollars. I predict it's probably going to clear $3 million before it's all said and done. This is amazing, tremendous comic book success. Okay, but what Eric typically does videos about is the larger culture war going on with a lot of these woke people basically marshaling the resources of these Hollywood studios and media corporations to generate their agenda, okay, further their agenda. Making a comic book is not going to change that, right? So to me, the idea that like Eric says, I'm not going to support them because they hate me. I'm going to make a product that I support, and you guys can support my product, and this is going to somehow change things. That's not going to change anything, okay? So my point is that with Eric and Ripaverse and stuff like that, that's great, and you should always support that, but not buying Marvel comics that are good Marvel comics, or not buying DC comics that are good comics, or not going to movies that are good movies, that sends the wrong message, because what you're saying is that it doesn't matter what these companies do anymore. And the fact of the matter is that it does matter what they do. Okay, Lightyear not being successful is important because it shows the market doesn't want Lightyear. Okay, now if Lightyear is not successful and say Minions is successful, okay, what studios are realizing ultimately, because they are for-profit companies, is ultimately if they want to survive, they will come up with content that people want. And that's what I think the policy should be. If you're upset about Star Wars, or you're upset about, the DC cinematic universe, or any of that stuff, what you need to do is you need to be selective in your consumption of media. So don't just go out and watch whatever movie, okay, and then complain about it. Go watch movies that you know are good and are actually furthering what you want. Like for me, I'm a big fan of Spider-Man No Way Home. I thought that was a fantastic film. Okay, but there are people that say, "Why are you supporting Marvel? They hate you. Why are you supporting DC? Or Disney? They hate you." And the reality is that they can hate me all they want, but they still want my money. And if they want my money, they're going to need to put something out that I'm willing to actually to buy. Okay, and so Ripa or Eric July, while I appreciate what he's doing from his message from his YouTube channel, I don't really agree with that. And so that's why I've run into a lot of people on Twitter who want to go to war, and because I'll say, "Oh, here's my review of the new Spider-Man comic book." I'm like, "Why are you buying Spider-Man? They hate you." I'm like, okay, that's childish. Honestly, it's childish. And because I'm an adult and I can make my own decisions, that's why I'm buying it. And I'm buying it because in my case, most of the comic books I'm buying and reviewing, I'm doing it to build my YouTube channel. That's really what I'm doing. Okay. For a while, I was buying comics just to see the state of the art, to see, and what I mean by that, I don't mean the actual art, the state of the art of comic book making in the industry. And I originally started buying tons of comics and reading them so I could get a feel of what was good and what was bad, right? Because I was doing comic strips, I was doing web comics, and it's a totally different thing. So, but then when I started seeing that, the way that you have a successful crowdfund is that you build an audience, and if you wanted to build an audience that's going to buy your comic book, you should probably do content that comic book readers enjoy. And so that's when I started, looking up all the different channels and all that stuff, and getting, um, you know, keyed in on, your boy and on Ethan and on Yellow, Yellow Flash, etc. All these different guys. So that's where I started getting involved with it, and that was important to understand. So now I buy the books not because I really care. I buy them just because I'm trying to build a channel. And so when someone says, "Why are you supporting people that hate you?" I'm like, I'm not a consumer per se. I'm actually doing this for ulterior motives. All right, so now I've got kind of like all this generic random pebble stuff going on here. What I need to do is I need to start kind of shading in where I want the colors to separate. So alligators do actually have stripes. All right, comments. Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. I subbed his channel, but mostly don't agree with his mindset. Basically, it seems not hateful, but aggressive. Yes, correct. Plus, I'm not anti-government. Like, I agree it's corrupt. Right now, I do believe in law and order in some way. Okay, but yeah, I agree with you. It said it's your money. You do what you want to do with it. Exactly. So, okay, so let's go ahead and start doing some bands up in here. Up in here. So. So what was the other news? So you had Eric July doing the big launch, and there was something else going on. That was people being salty about it. There's so many people pissed off about this guy making so much money, and I don't understand that. You should be happy that someone is demonstrating that it is possible to make a ton of money doing this. And people are like, and I made this, and I put this tweet out, and I said that basically. I said that what he's doing is revolutionary because he's building his own website and his own platform. And people think, well, I got my own website, I got my own, and I'm like, okay, well, it's like I've done the same thing. Why am I not successful or as successful? Excuse me, or as successful as Eric? Well, you're not as successful as Young Rippo because you don't have 500,000 YouTube subscribers. Duh. So it's like if you want to be that successful, you're gonna have to put in that effort, and it's not easy. Okay, it really is not easy. I'm sorry that some people seem to have gotten it into their heads that they don't have to really put in this kind of work, but the reality is that they do. And you'll see that the guy's streaming all the time. He's always on these different shows. And does it matter who you know? Of course it matters who you know. And how do you get in touch with these people, and how do you start knowing these people? By putting out content. and by building your channel. No one's going to know that you're there until you start making things that draw their attention. So that's the important aspect of that. Yeah, it's a good time for independent creators. People are salty because they weren't the first, but they just plus they got beat by someone they don't like because he says things that are agree. Yeah, you know, it's like, okay, look, it's comics, guys. It's independent comics. The key word independent, right? So it's it's gonna look different when you do it versus when, say, Eric July or Young Ripa does it. So and you've got to come to the realization. Do I want the outside? You know, this should probably go in here. Because his leg actually comes through here. This is where it's usually sitting. So it goes dun, dun, like that. Um, hmm. Right. Brings it this way. Anyway, yeah. So bottom line is, you know, I'm sorry that your Indiegogo raised only $3,000. You know, I'm sorry that you only made $100. And by the way, the worst look possible is for you to cry and whine about the fact that nobody bought your comic book or nobody backed your crowdfund. Okay, it's not anybody else's job but your own to make your crowdfund work. Okay, it's your job, not their job, your job. And if you're not willing to actually put in the effort to give people something they want, then why should people give you money? Okay, why should people back you like that? I don't really understand this mindset. It's counterproductive to you, not just anybody else. It's counterproductive to you as a creator. So that's something I just don't really understand. But yeah, no, there's an inordinate amount of salt out there. Oh, I know what the other thing I was going to talk about was the stupid Elliot Page flash thing. Okay, so a lot of people, and I don't see that. I don't understand this. I don't. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I think about this whole trans person thing. Look, if a person wants to be called something, like they want to change their name, right? Okay, I'm not talking about the pronoun thing, but if somebody wants to change their name to whatever name they want it to be. So this guy's name is Robert, and he wants to change his name to Sally, and he wants you to call him Sally. He's a grown adult. I don't see any reason why I should continue to try to call him Robert to score points on social media. It's just, to me, an unproductive thing. Okay, so you don't have to believe different ideologies or things about transgenders or what people are, what they aren't biologically. You don't have to get into that. But if somebody wants to be called, in this case, Elliot, then just call that person Elliot. Okay, it's not hard. And so I keep seeing all these Twitter things. I got suspended by Twitter because I said Ellen Page and I'm like, yeah, because that's against the terms of service for Twitter, and quite frankly, you're being an asshole. So, you know, again, you don't have to agree with people, but there is basic common social, you know, things that you should probably think about, right? So anyway, so then Bounding into Comics had this article where they're saying that apparently some people are considering replacing Ezra Miller, who is completely crazy at this point, with Elliot Page as the Flash, and I'm like, why? Why would you do that? Because Ezra Miller was already incorrectly cast, in my opinion, for that role, and casting a 5'3" um, double X chromosome possessing person. I mean, this isn't Peter Pan, okay? The Flash is supposed to be like what, 6 foot tall, right? And he's not. The Flash is not Spider-Man, guys. The Flash is not Spider-Man. So casting Elliot Page as the Flash would be asinine. All right, so let's see here. It is funny that they called Eric July a hate group and banned his content on Reddit. Reddit's full of imbeciles. Don't go talking about comics on Reddit, okay? Hey, Manuel. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate that. Oh, I love that image. This image here, right here, I'm pointing at it. This is a hilarious avatar. I love this reaction. Actually, I used that today. I used that because Elon Musk said something that was just totally savage. So yeah, congratulations on that. That's a beautiful avatar. I am sorry that I have not gotten around to reviewing Oblivion Song. There just have been a ton of new books out that quite bluntly I've been needing to do reviews of, and they have a larger audience. So I am going to do the Oblivion Song review. It's just I'm sorry I haven't gotten to it yet. So my apologies. But anyway, back to Elliot Page. No, you don't cast Elliot Page as the Flash, because that would be stunt casting, and that's something that I'm violently against, is stunt casting in general. I do not like the idea of casting someone because it's specifically trolling people to do that. And I don't mean casting Michael Keaton as Batman. That's not stunt casting. If there's a real legitimate reason for the casting decision to be made, that's fine. I cannot imagine a legitimate reason to cast Elliot Page as the Flash. That just makes absolutely no sense. So it's cool, man. You're right. Much like you, Emmanuel, it is cool. Let's see here. Back up to, oops. There we go. Back up to what Dragon was saying. Yeah, I agree. It's your money. Okay. And then, yeah. And they call it, yeah, no, Reddit's full of imbeciles. Don't go on Reddit to talk about comics ever. I feel a little bit jealous, to be honest. I didn't save comics like Eric or Comicsgate, but I blame myself for not working hard enough. Okay, so there's you don't need to blame yourself, dude. Okay, you're just doing your own thing. Okay, don't measure yourself against other people. Okay, just look at the fact that someone has been successful. There's an old proverb. There's an old Bible verse. It says, "Rejoice with those who rejoice, and weep with those who weep." Okay, and basically the point of that is read the room. Okay, if you're amongst a group of people that are excited about something, be excited with them. Okay, because it makes them feel better, right? It makes you a better person, and it makes you a better friend, and it makes you someone who it gives you more empathy for other people. Okay, and obviously there's exceptions. I mean, don't celebrate people who are being jerks, but if someone has got a legitimate reason to be happy about something, then be happy with them, right? Don't shit all over them. Don't criticize them or nitpick them or naysay them or say, oh well, you're lucky or anything like. Just be happy. And if there are people that are upset about something, then give them empathy. Say, I understand where you're coming from. I understand what you feel like. If you just follow that proverb, you'll go far in life. Okay, because people, no matter who you're with, are going to see you as someone who understands them, right? So that's important to know. So, but don't blame yourself. There's nothing for you to blame yourself about. It's just a matter of, life is different for different people. Different people have different challenges. By the way, Eric put basically his life savings into building that. So that's a huge thing because he was laid off from his job. Most of these influencers have regular day jobs, right? And so Eric actually had, an actual job, but he got laid off because of the pandemic. And that's when he decided that he was going to get off his butt and put his money where his mouth is, and he went and did the required research, and then invested apparently $200,000 of his savings, which is his entire savings, into creating that company. So it's not easy. It's never easy, you know. And he's doing it because he wanted to do it a certain way. I mean, you don't need $200,000 to create an Indiegogo, obviously, or a Kickstarter. You just need to build that audience. But he did two things. He built the audience, and additionally, he invested his own money to build his own infrastructure, which is a big, big deal. And people need to be happy about that, in my opinion. If you can't be happy about that, then you have a very sad life. So, anyway, why don't they just cast the guy who plays the Flash on the CW? That's an excellent question, Emmanuel. The reason why they don't cast Grant Gustin is because Grant Gustin is the TV show Flash. That's why. There are different things. Okay, a Flash movie is not the TV show. So if you were to cast Grant Gustin as the Flash in a DC cinematic universe movie, what you would be doing is you would be saying basically the CW Arrowverse is the cinematic universe, right? And that doesn't quite work out. So if you want all the woke nonsense and idiocy from Batgirl or Batwoman, excuse me, to permeate, then that's what's going to happen. Because audiences, you people here talk on this stream, talking to me and watching the stream, we understand comics and we understand that they're not the same thing. But your average person is going to look at that and they're going to think that Grant Gustin being in a Flash movie is a movie version of the TV show. And so when do you where do you draw the line? Do you start casting all these other actors in the TV show and the Flash movie as well? There's thorny issues to bear in mind with that. And there's nothing wrong with the Flash TV show necessarily. I don't watch it because I don't watch CW DC shows because I think they're all idiotic. After the first two seasons of Arrow, the first two seasons of Arrow were great. It was a great show, but then it got into we're making TV shows for teenage girls, and I'm like, that's not really what I'm interested in watching at this point because I'm not a teenage girl. So they want to get ratings of 30,000 households and knock themselves out. All right, I think I need to work some more on his head. All right, so the snouts for alligators are pretty straightforward. They're not really. There's not really a lot of kind of scaling or texture like that. So you can kind of just do what you want to do and make it look the way you want it to make it look the way you want it to look. I will say that the top of the snouts are darker than the bottom snouts. The bottom snouts are usually paler. Every time I upload a new video, Emmanuel, I think about you and the fact that I haven't done that Oblivion song. I feel bad. I actually did a commission about 20 years ago of a big alligator for somebody, and I spent a lot of time just doing dots because that's how I was coloring it. So, and I gave you the kind of pitting that you really want. These are reptiles that lie around in swamps and lake beds. So It's not like they get it's not like they get a just Sephora and get body lotion. The more teeth, the better. Any other questions anybody's got about anything? I want to take a drink of Diet Dr. Pepper. Any questions about Dark Variance? Any questions about pop culture? Any questions about Eric July or ISOM? Or sour people, of which there are numerous examples. All right, I'm going to take a picture of this real quick, and I'm going to put that. Actually, you know what? I got a better idea. I'm going to take a screenshot, and then I'm going to put that up on Twitter and see if I can get some more people in here. All right. Let's see here. I forgot to tag people. I should have tagged some people. All right. So just sent that out. Maybe I'll get some more people coming in. How do you work backwards when you write the ending first? It sounds hard. Okay, so that's an excellent question. How do you work backwards? Well, when you have the ending, okay, so the thing is that if you have the ending, what that means is that you know who your characters are, you know who your hero is, you know how they achieve their ending, right? And then you know what obstacle that they have overcome to get that ending, right? So the key here is that you need to figure out, well, say I'll give you, let's just make up a story, okay? Our hero, Bob the garbage man is our hero, okay? Bob the garbage man has saved the day, right? He has beat back the toxic mutants that have erupted out of the landfill, and he has saved the entire uh, country and the world from these toxic mutants that are emerging from this landfill, and so now he's going back. He's earning a well-earned respite at his on the beach with his family and a tropical drink melting in his hand like the song from Kokomo. Okay, so Bob the Garbage Man. That's the end of the story. He has utilized recycling practices to defeat the toxic mutants and save the world in the process. Okay, so that's your ending, right? So now what you got to figure out is, okay, well, what was Bob doing to start with? Okay, Bob was just an everyday garbage man, and he was starting off his day collecting the garbage like he does, right? And then he got a call that there was a problem with some of the trucks not being able to leave the landfill, and he went back to the landfill, and then he realized that all of his buddies were getting eaten by toxic monsters, and that's when he realized that his experience working at the recycling plant gave him some ideas for how he could recycle the garbage that the toxic monsters were assimilating to create their physical forms, right? And so he used that knowledge with some of the spare chemicals that were lying around the landfill to create the fuel that he would need in his secret, fire hose that he had in the warehouse to spray them all down. So that's really how that works. Once you know what the ending is and you know how it's ending, all you got to do is think, okay, it's a 3-act story. We have to have our hero introduced, and then we have to have some information about that hero and why he's cool, and then we have to have an obstacle that he has to overcome, and then he has to try to fight that obstacle. He's going to fail, but then he has to regroup, and then he comes back and he ultimately defeats the obstacle, whether that's an environmental challenge or whether that's a supervillain or it's a relationship challenge or whatever, anything like that. And then once he defeats that, then you have the backup after that. What's the immediate aftermath? And then you set him up for a happy ever after, or maybe you have a cliffhanger to end it on where something else happened, where like the last shot shows you that not all the toxic monsters are gone. So that's how you do that. I hope that answers your question. All right, back to drawing. You can use Bob the garbage man as a hero if you want. So. One of the things that I've been noticing about alligator mouths is that there's not really much in them. So, that tongue is really that smooth. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't even know if they even have a tongue. I don't even know that's an actual tongue there. don't know. Should we give this alligator a name? I haven't named it. I'm doing all this detail on this alligator, and it's just dawning on me that I've got scenes where I've got like 60 alligators. So I'm gonna have to come up with a way to make this more economical for doing it. One thing I've not been able to find for whatever reason is an upturned alligator hand. What does an upturned alligator hand look like? I'm from Orlando, and there's actually a place called Gatorland in Orlando, and you can go watch them feed, watch them feed the alligators chickens, like whole chickens that you find at the grocery store. It's pretty impressive. I have not seen the Gator Boys, unless you mean they're the Gator Boys that are in Gatorland. I probably have seen them at some point. It's been a long time since I went there. I've got to find out what the underside of this hand looks like. Apparently, it's kind of leathery, and that's it, which is not really all that surprising. Yeah, they had a show on Animal Planet where they captured rescued gators. Hmm. That is cool. I will say that alligators, for the most part, they will keep to themselves. You have to kind of go looking for trouble to get in trouble with them. Boom. So they do have. Okay, so it's just tiny scales is what they look like. Okay.
And that's how you draw the underside of a gator hand, apparently. Might have to switch my audio here in a second. My AirPods are dying.
How about that? Maybe I should unmute myself. Technology. Okay. So yeah. All right. So I'm working on a story around the African god Shango or Shango. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Well, I don't want it to be a one and done. I kind of want it to be a continuous series of adventures similar. So I'm figuring out that part. So like I said, a one. Well, you didn't hear me say it, but a one and done um, requires just one adventure. Okay. You don't need to have multiple adventures for a one and done. And you just it ends with a natural ending and the character is happily ever after or not, depending on how you want that story to go, and there isn't anything else that needs to be said. So a continuing series of adventures, though, that would be like an ongoing story, an ongoing series. I'm back. Hey, looking good. Sorry, my mom needed me. Well, you know, your mom needs you. Your mom needs you. This is the way it goes. I'm getting to the point where I kind of got the basic idea of what the alligator looks like generally. So now I can kind of like do what I want. Any of you see the new Thor movie? I have not. If you've seen it, let me know what you think. So what's going on here? Why is she slamming gators? Well, that's a great question. So let's explain why she's slamming gators. The answer is that she's actually not slamming gators. All right, so okay, so let me kind of point something out here because this is not actually actually that's not right. That's not right. Well, for this purpose, it's fine. Okay, so okay, so um, in this page, Vindibabe, this is Vindibabe, has leapt out of a building. Okay, so the best way I can really describe this is to kind of sketch it out, right? So here's the storyboard. Okay, so this page here, actually, this page here, come on, there you go. Okay, this character is here. She's here. Okay, and she's inside of this building here, right? And I wish I could zoom out. Yes, there's just not enough room. So this is a building that she was previously inside. Here she's inside the building, right? And she's looking over her shoulder and she sees a bunch of alligators flying to the top of the building, right? And so they're flying. These alligators are flying because they've been thrown up there by this character. This character and this character are down on the street, and she's got control of these alligators, and then he's got the ability to basically accelerate them to great speeds. And so he basically takes his bow staff, and he works. He's got the ability to slow things down, like matter, like objects. He can slow things down. He can stop them in midair, and he can accelerate them. All right, that's his power set. And so what they do is they have like about 60 alligators that they discovered in a sewer, and they're down on the street level, and they've just come up out of a manhole cover onto the street. And this character is at the top of this building right here, and he is in dire need of assistance. He's getting beaten up by this villain he's trying to fight. So these two get the bright idea that they're going to take these alligators and they're going to basically throw the alligators to the top of this building, right? So meanwhile, in the story, she has tried to get to the top of the building, but she's stuck like about midway up through the building. She's kind of trapped in a room, and this is the room that she's trapped in. But she can see outside the window that these alligators, and there's going to be about 60 of them that are going to be flying up here. They're going to be thrown up basically to the top. You should look at this panel like you're looking directly at the top of the building. So she's facing street level. So if you were standing on the street, look directly up, this is the angle you'd be seeing. Okay, so she jumps out of this window, she shatters the window, and she grabs onto one of the alligators, right, that are being flung up to the top of the tower. And like I said earlier, she's got the ability to construct things that she's read in books. And so in this case, she's going to put these kind of dark matter wings, dark matter, antimatter wings that she can manifest, like these constructs, and she's going to attach the wings to each of these alligators, and she's going to ride the alligators to the top of the building. She's using the alligators essentially as an elevator to the top of the building, because general safety here has thrown the alligators all the way up there. And so the answer to your question is she's not slamming an alligator, she's catching a ride. So it's going to make sense in the book, I swear. But it's an 8-page sequence, and it occurs midway through issue 2. And it's one of these things that I've envisioned and I've written, and to me, it is the coolest effing thing I could possibly imagine creating myself personally. I want this book to be awesome. I want this book to have awesome action, inventive things that you've never seen before. And I'll tell you one thing that I have never seen before. I have never seen a superhero jump out of a building, smashing the windows to grab an alligator that's being thrown to the top of a skyscraper. I've never seen that. And you're going to see it in this book. So that's what that is. I hope that clarifies it. Okay, Dragon Pisces says, I have not seen Thor. I am sorry, it just looks so bad. I understand. So to that effect, I was going to put a building behind her tonight, but I started drawing the alligator. I realized that I thought the alligator was probably more important. And so also I wanted to make sure that the alligator flowed visually with the cape. So you're going to be coming across here. She's the focus of the page, and then it kind of goes up like this. So then I'm going to have glass shattering out of here, and so then I'm going to have like the roof line of the room that she was in, and so that roof line is going to be like right up here, right? And then like the bottom is going to be down here, and I'm going to have shattered windows and shattered glass coming out here, and then I'm going to have probably an alligator here, like you're going to be catching the back of the head of the alligator, like this, something like that. Actually, that's the wrong pencil. That's the black lead. get that out of here. So where did my, there it is. Okay. So yeah, so shattered glass out here on the bottom of the page, and then these other alligators, and that's the action shot. Have you guys ever seen anything like this before? I have never seen a superhero nor imagined a hero that can construct stuff out of literature. Well, thank you. I worked really hard on trying to figure that out. So, but I've got two references here. Originally, I was thinking it might be like the flying monkeys out of The Wizard of Oz, that she would create their wings and put them out on the alligators. But then I thought maybe Icarus from Greek mythology. I could do the wings that Icarus had, and that would probably be even better because the wings would melt as they got closer to the top of the building, or the sun, as it were. So, but I'll be perfectly honest with you. I had no idea that this would turn out this way. I was like, I've never drawn this before. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it working? You tell me. You tell me if you think it sucks or not. All right. Let's draw some more scales. At this point, basically I just need a scaly alligator leg, and I can kind of make that look any way I want it to look. No, I can't say I've imagined a girl superhero grabbing a ride from an alligator. Yeah, probably not. But I love how it looks. Cool. Thank you. Thank you very much. Honestly, to tell you the truth, this leg should probably be about the same distance, same length. Like I believe it, so yes, it's super good. Oh, thanks. I'm good. I'm glad. That's what I was looking for. The worst thing is to draw something that doesn't look, legitimate. Now, once you're drawing all these scales, once you get done with all the straight lines, you got to start kind of making them rough around the edges. Kind of give them some depth and some texture. Actually, I should probably make that go the other direction. Actually, this arm is foreshortened, so I can get away with it. You draw the other ridge line, though, that's for sure. Yeah, it's funny. That kind of really does it, I mean, you don't really... That kind of ties the room together. When I look at a comic, I want to see wacky things, but drawn in realistic detail like a live-action movie. Well, thank you. I agree, too. That's my opinion. That's the way I think it should be. Otherwise, I'll just read a comic strip. I think I need to sharpen this again. Day. There you go. Sharp. Very sharp. So what else is new with you guys? Give me some questions. Tell me what's going on with you guys. Anything fun? Anything cool? You know, I sharpened this and I immediately put it down and snap it off. Frustrating. I'm not going to lie. I think this is actually the coolest alligator I've ever drawn. That being said, it's only the second one I've ever drawn. All right. Emmanuel says, who do you think is an underrated or underused character in comics? Mine is probably North Star from the New Warriors. Yeah, it's funny. North Star, isn't he the Canadian? Isn't he the gay Canadian one? I'm pretty sure that's North Star. That's a groundbreaking character, and it's funny he's underused because I think that he came out when there wasn't really a lot of socially acceptable gay characters, right? And I think the problem is he's kind of too passe at this point. He's not as flashy and new because really it's not about creating authentic characters who happen to be homosexual. Really, what it's about now is taking famous characters that are straight and making them homosexual. That's the new hotness. That's what the trend is, which is asinine. And it's honestly it's counterproductive even when you really think about what they're trying to do. If you're trying to gain acceptance for something, basically destroying something else to do that is not how you want to go about doing that. That's not going to get you where you think you want to go. So yeah, North Star is underused. I'll be perfectly honest with you, because he's so underused, I don't really know a whole lot about him. And that's the fault of Marvel for not really doing the character justice. All right, I'm gonna go with the bands here first. One thing to keep in mind about drawing alligators is that it's really a lot about bands. They have so many bands on their hides. So the question is, do I think that there are any underused characters? Yeah, I think. Well, what's an underused character? Also, real quick, while I ask my mom for extra toys so I can earn more than $20. Good. Let's see. I got a brand new boxing bag. Nice. I got a neighbor who wants to teach me how to box. Yeah, to be honest, I don't agree, but I'm not sure what else you're saying there, but okay. Anyway, underused character. I think, who's an underused character? Thinking, who is an underused character? Um, that's a good question. I'm looking at my collection of books here to see if there's anything that stands out. You know, I'm gonna go for an unconventional choice. I think Calendar Man, the Batman villain, is an underused character because Calendar Man is he's he's got a really great gimmick, and I think that you can do some really amazing stuff with him. I know that they use him in Arkham, the video game, and I know that they use him in the Long Halloween. But I think that yeah, whenever there's a new writer that comes into Batman, usually it's one of the main villains. It's a Two-Face story, or it's a Penguin story, or it's a Catwoman story, or it's a Joker story, or it's a Riddler story, or a Scarecrow story. I think a good character to base a story around would be Calendar Man. And Scott Snyder actually has a riff a pitch about Calendar Man he talks about that's really pretty inventive. But the character is just full of potential. So I think that's an underused villain character. As far as superhero characters, I think that are underused. I think the way I would put that is that I don't think that they're used in a way that is as effective as they could be. And I'm going to take maybe more another unconventional choice. I'll say that Deadpool I think is underused because I don't think that they know what to do with him. They keep putting him in these different weird storylines and things like that, but they don't really use the character. They haven't buckled down and said, you know, here's a main ongoing Deadpool story or book, and for a while anyway, and we're going to give him something that is like a defining storyline. You know, a lot of people have defining stories that wind up getting turned into omnibuses, like Brightest Day, etc., or The Dark Knight Returns, things like that. I don't think Deadpool has that, and I think that that would be a good choice to try to fix. Whose power? Calendar Man. Calendar Man doesn't really have any powers, so Calendar Man just likes to create or commit crimes on holidays. But that's the point. You could give him a power set. And that's the cool thing about him. While I don't agree with homosexuality because of my religion, I do believe it's people's choice on who they date and live. Yeah, well, you should always, you should. You don't have to agree with people, but you do need to treat people like you wish to be treated yourself, or better yet, treat them the way if you're of a religious person, treat them according to the tenets of your faith. That's the best way to go about that, I think. So, but when I'm talking about characters and I'm talking about defining characteristics of the characters, a lot of characters are presently, sadly, being defined by who they like to sleep with, which is stupid. That's not what makes a character good or bad. No one cares about that. The people that care about that, I will say, don't care about story. And if they don't care about the story enough to give the character a reason to be like how they are for whatever reason, then there's no reason to make the character a particular way. So it's like saying, oh, this character is a Southern Baptist, and that's the defining characteristic of the character. No one cares. They really don't. So. The reality is that the world is full of people that don't agree with you. That doesn't make them bad. It doesn't make them evil. It just means that they're different than you are. And your job is not to make them agree with you. Okay, that's not your job necessarily. Your job is to love them as human beings and recognize that people have their own journeys and struggles that they have to go through. What else we got here? Yeah, I agree 100%. I don't care about what they are. I try to love them. Well, that's exactly right. You know, I saw something on. I keep hearing about this platinum rule. It's better than the golden rule. Okay, the golden rule is treat others the way you would wish to be treated. That's the golden rule, and that idea has been in various religious texts for thousands and thousands of years. Okay, it's not just a Christian thing or a Muslim thing or a Hindu thing or a Buddhist thing or a Jewish thing. It permeates all religions for the most part. Is treat others the way that you wish you would like to be treated. Now, then there's this new thing that's been out lately called the Platinum Rule, which is absurd. It's treat others the way that those people want them to be treated. Treat others the way that others want to be treated. And what that insinuates is that the other person has earned the right to be treated the way that or if they're an abusive person and they want you to treat them a certain way that's not moral or ethical, that then you're obligated to do that. So the Platinum Rule is asinine. I saw it on the Xbox dashboard and I just about flipped out. My wife was like, "Why do you care?" I'm like, "Because it's wrong. If someone, do you want Hitler to be treated the way Hitler wants to be treated? No, of course not. You don't want abusive boyfriends to be treated the way that they wish to be? No, of course you don't. So you treat people the way that you want yourself to be treated. And the reason why that's important is because if you treat people the way you want to be treated, what that does is that it imputes your humanity onto other people. Okay, it makes you realize that other people are just like you. If you treat people the way you wish to be treated, you're treating them instantaneously. That confers upon them the same humanity that you have, and that's why it's important to treat others the way that you wish to be treated, because it's not just about those people. It's about making yourself a better person. I need to clean these lines up here. I mean, if you make friends based on rather or not you agree with them, good luck making friends. I have friends who I disagree with, and Stormy made friends with similar separate ways because he was very rude to others and I still respect the guys. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And exactly. Thank you. Well, are we running up on 2:00 here? Okay, we're gonna stop here in about 5 minutes, but I appreciate you all coming out and hanging out with me. It means a lot. As always, I do these on Wednesdays now, and I will be working on something else. You can see what I'm working on over the course of the week. I might do another stream in the next over the next couple of days or whatnot, depending on how time allows. But you can also follow my Instagram. It's Dark Matter Comics. That's DARKMATRCOMX. That's my Instagram, and you can and I'll be putting up art there as well as my Twitter account, which is ASW Comics. I also found out that had not set up my email on my YouTube channel, but now if you go to my about page for my YouTube channel, you will see that I have an email set up there. So I was writing my script for my original dream story. Almost done. I'm finishing counting pages. It's going to be 44 page comic. Very nice. I'm halfway done with typing the details on each panel. Very nice. Good for you. All right. I think the alligator's about done. I need to clean up this leg here because I don't like it. It's a little messy. That's a little bit cleaner. All right. Maybe next week I'll be doing a zombie pink flamingo. All right, so it's cool, man. It's guys like you that keep my creator dreams alive and pushing me to be better. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm excited for your comic. I love the talks. You're very imaginative. See you next time. Have a good night. Well, thank you very much, Dragon. So, all right. So there's Vindibabe hitching a ride on an alligator. I'm sorry. The idea is ludicrous and hilarious and awesome all at the same time. So, thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And I will certainly have another Wednesday draw stream next week, hopefully, Lord willing. And maybe I'll even have some other live draw streams in the next couple of days. We'll see. And I'll probably be working on zombie pink flamingos next, or maybe I will actually be working on this page. I might actually just work on this page. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. So yeah, in this section here, she's actually starting to jump out of the. She's actually breaking through the glass. So she looks, and then the next thing is her breaking. I think I might have an intervening panel here where she turns to start running. So you see her running here, and then she'll be breaking through the glass here, and then the next page will be like ta-da. So anyway, all right. Again, thanks for watching. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching Comics of Drew. I'm Drew, and I'll catch you next time.